busy, booked, exhausted. Your inbox is screaming at you like a siren. Your calendar is still full. Still calling yourself visible and you're just the best kept secret? Turns out I was right there with you, my friend. Wasn't getting seen, was just the best kept secret. Wasn't getting heard, definitely, kind of getting paid. But here, the magic, my friend. It's a collaboration between Colleen Stubbs and Nicole Borghi. The Voice Lab on the school platform shows you how to use podcast spotlights, summit stages, and simplified, yeah, that's right, simple outreach systems so your visibility actually works. Get seen, get heard, join the free Voice Lab on the school platform, and you're going to get it all. Because if you're working this hard, someone else should know about it. Scan the QR code today.
Welcome to a world of unforgettable experiences and immersive marketing. Transform your events into extraordinary moments that captivate your audience. Whether it's corporate gatherings, product launches, or community celebrations, our immersive marketing solutions elevate your events to new heights. Immerse your attendees in a world of audio books and podcasts tailored to your brand. Engage their senses and leave a lasting impression. Explore the power of storytelling with our curated podcast content. From insightful discussions to entertaining narratives, we've got the perfect audio experience for your event. Ready to make your next event unforgettable? Scan the QR code now and book a complimentary immersive marketing call with our experts. Let's create memories together. Elevate your events with immersive marketing. Scan the code and let the magic begin.
All right, folks, welcome back. Scan that code. You want to learn a little bit more about how to get seen and heard. And I'm your hostess with the mostest, Nicole Borghi, and welcome back to a great and wonderful episode live of the Pain Point podcast. And, you know, as an event to scale visibility leader, I really show entrepreneurs how to leverage virtual events as a marketing machine. So anytime you're getting on the camera, you want to get seen and heard, you want to show up, shout out, and just grab that mic and you know, be in the vibe, be in the energy, be with people and cheer them on. You want to make your guest, you want to feel good. You want to get them to stand out and shine, and you want your audience to feel engaged. Let them be part of it. It's that moment of engagement. We're back to building relationships, and it's so great. And so here today on the Pain Point podcast, you know what? We're going to start talking about some solutions to your business's virtual pain points. Everything's online. You know, whether you're virtual reality, you're in the virtual space of Zoom, you're restreaming, you got social media, but what does that do? It doesn't take away from the fact that you're going to live events and meeting wonderful people, giving them hugs, saying hello. But it's a chance to market to that point. And honestly, it is just a great way. I mean, just think about it. We don't have to be in traffic. We don't have to be stuck on the freeway. Nobody wants to do it. I don't know about you guys, but coming from the Silicon Valley area, all you did was sit in traffic. And thank goodness when I was an area supervisor, I had Sirius FM, some great coffee, and some snacks because I was paid to sit in traffic in Las Vegas forever. And you know what? I am just so glad I can do this online, and then I can meet wonderful people and talk to today. I want to bring her up. Thank you guys for being here. Today I've got the great Kimberly Crow, an international inspirational public speaker. And you know what? She helps people find their voice and step into the spotlight. And it's all about fun and energy. And what an amazing person. Just intelligent, fun, a businesswoman, you know, and she's just out there. Let's have a good time and get jazz. So welcome to the show, Kimberly.
Cole, thank you so much for that nice, warm welcome. I appreciate you so much. Yeah, you and I think a lot alike. It's all about stepping up into the spotlight, getting on the podium and shining, letting people see who you are and what you're up to in the world so that they can step into your world and be and get your juicy goodness so that you can have the contribution to the world that you want to make.
Yeah. You know, it's just it it's such a different world that we have. We have the media in our back pockets. You get on your phone, you got all these great cameras on your iPhone, whatever. I've got my my screen. It's just my visual projections of what I want to do. My goals are all right here. It's my vision board on my phone.
Ooh, I
And
love
I
that.
can record myself. So it's such a great thing. We have these tools in our back pockets that are everywhere where we could just shout out to the world and tell them how wonderful we are and then sell our products and our wares.
I know, and I think they talk about communication when many a year ago, when I was getting my degree in business communication. One of the standard things that they talk about is the words that you say are about 10% of your communication. The actual words, the technical words that you're spitting out of your mouth are 10% of what you're communicating. The next like 30 to 40%
Yeah, I
is your
record
voice
myself.
and
So
your
it's
vocal
such a
tone,
great.
what goes up, what goes down, how people are connecting with you, how you sound, right? And the fact that that's going into their ears vibrationally, and so you're vibrationally touching folks by the actual sound of your voice. But then the other 50% is your gestures, your visual, like what they can see your face and what you're doing, and being able to communicate with people just by having that connection with them. So anytime you get on video, anytime that you step up on a stage, anytime that you're on a virtual podcast that has a visual component, you're hitting all of those capacities. Now, I know that some people listen to podcasts and it's audio only. Awesome. That's fantastic. You can do that without looking at a screen, which means you can do it while you're driving, while you're on a bicycle, while you're at the gym, while you're gardening, and you don't have to look at the screen. And so podcasts are very powerful, but video, man, they get a chance to see who you are, how you show up in the world, and they get that trust factor with the visual expression you're making as well.
Yeah, 100%. And it's just, when we're out there, it's how many lives are you touching? And it's evergreen. It's everywhere.
Right.
When you're waking up, it's almost like, you can watch, people can binge you all day long. And that's the power of something like a YouTube or Rumble, or even where we're going live right now on LinkedIn. And hello to Jeff is out there in
Hey, Jeff.
YouTube land. Jeff Veal, all right, ready to go. The business guru himself. Say hello, hello, Jeff. All right, good to see you there. And the great thing about that is even on the school platform where we have the group, and
Yes.
you guys, the link is below for the voice lab on the school platform. You want to join that this week. We've got a little special there. It's a 7-day free trial. And the reason to share that is we talk about visibility. We talk about grabbing the mic, getting on the stage, making your life simple. And when you're showing up and you're on something like YouTube or Rumble, people get to know you. They get to be in your vibe. They get to experience a little bit about you. They can binge you, maybe watch a short, and then go into a long hour podcast or a 3 hour podcast. And they get to know more about you as what you're sharing, what you're teaching, the knowledge
Mhm.
you have. And you have people like out there like Alex Hormozy, and he's always saying the same thing. And it's just powerful what he's teaching. You could trust him. You could trust that he's going to come back tomorrow and the same quality is going to be there and the same information is going to be there. But this is what it does. What you can do is take the control and the power back of grabbing that mic. And when
Mhm.
we're talking about speaking here, and it looks glamorous for people, right? People get up there, you're getting all that, you've got all these beauty lights. I need a few more as I'm getting up in years. I could use a few more filters. Hello, Zoom. Just a suggestion there. Let's get a few more filters. And that's what's great about doing that. You hop into Zoom and you're streaming everywhere else. But when you're looking at this, is it really complete chaos? Because we were talking about it was the Women's Day, right? You had Voices of
Yeah.
Women Summit, and congratulations on such an excellent job with everything. You had all these tracks, you had different rooms going on, you had all these women, powerful women speaking on the stage, and there was even men there to support, and it was the world working perfectly, and people speaking, people getting along, people sharing
Yes.
business and wonderful things. Was it complete chaos behind the scenes for you?
Well, for me, not entirely complete chaos, but getting ready for it. I mean, putting on an event that is epic like that. We had 207 women that were speaking live, plus several that had sent in recordings, plus several that were speaking twice. We had nearly 300 different talks during the day on 14 simultaneous Zoom rooms that were running, and an amazing 12-hour day. It was absolutely fantastic. And coordinating a feat at that level is always a challenge of one way or another. But this was our sixth one, and not my first rodeo. I've put on over 100 of these virtual summits, and we'll talk about the advantages and disadvantages of all the different platforms. But this particular one was absolutely amazing. The women were incredible. The value that they gave during the event was absolutely fantastic. And we were very, very pleased to have established a brand new world record for the largest number of women speaking live at a virtual event in a single day. It's official now. We're super excited about that.
That's so amazing, and this is why I'll be like a forever fan of yours, because not just your energy, the way you show up and you shout out, but you truly know what you're talking about, and you're not faking it till you're making it. You're like, hey, if something kind of messed up, here we go, let's move forward, and we
Sure.
can move on. But the phenomenon of putting that together with all the tracks and all the people speaking, and you're going for a record breaking speaking experience, and what's the next challenge, how can you invite what, 200 and something of your closest friends and bring them all into one room and pack them into that small kind of clown car, and it's just fun, and everybody gets so jazzed about it. And the reason I'll forever just be a fan is that you bring people in with you. You don't just like, hey, I'm amazing and show up to my thing, but I'm amazing and I want you to be amazing. I want to give you a stage. I want to give you a place where you can share your story. You can show up, shout out, and you know what? And there's no secret that they're selling there, and people have a call to action, right? It's not the secret thing that's hidden behind the scenes, and I think that's some of it all the time. But it brings, what does this teach you? And you have an incredible background of your experience and success, and coming on the stage, it's placing yourself strategically to build authority. And it just, hey, I can do this every time. It's marketing, right? At the the core of this, it's marketing yourself without doing commercials. People get to engage. What is that for you? Did you know that all the time that this was truly marketing to do your own PR?
Great question. And interestingly, I'm going to answer that in one word, which is yes. However, I don't think everybody else knows that. So when I started in this, somebody said, "Oh, you should be a speaker coach. You're blah blah blah. You have the, you're so comfortable at it. You can help other people and you give guidance." And there's about 100,000 speaker coaches out there, probably more than that, that all probably do a better job than I of taking people from step one to step two to step three to step four to step five, and just sort of holding their hand along the way and giving them coaching on their individual talks, etc. That's while I can do that, that's really not an area of strength of mine. And I decided a long time ago I was not going to be a speaker coach specifically to do one-on-one coaching with people. My expertise and the things that I love doing, and I'm a big fan of doing what you love doing, because if you're just doing it because you think it'll pay well, then you might as well be stuck in a W-2 job, which is fine. There's nothing wrong with that. I did that for many years too. But if you're not loving what you're doing, then you really got to take a look at that. We all only have so many go rounds on this planet, and we might as well be doing what we love. So I decided that one of the things that I ran into was coaches and experts and healers and creatives all have something really magic that they want to help people with. Even speaker coaches have something really amazing that they want to help people with. What they don't want to do is sell and market, right? They don't want to like put together swipe copy. They don't want to do Facebook ads. They don't want to do and they don't want to do those one-on-one calls to lock people in, or do a webinar to like pitch people to bring them into their world. And I realized that in my background, I actually had done sales, and I'm not nervous or afraid of sales, but sales doesn't have to be that icky, slimy thing that people think it is. Nobody likes to be sold to, but we all want to buy stuff. When we need stuff, we want to buy things, right? We want to purchase help of some kind, whether it's a car or a purse or a lawnmower or speaking coaching. We all want to be able to buy that solution for our world. What we don't love is that feeling of being locked in and sold to. Well, speaking bridges that gap for people. If you have something magic inside you that you want to share with people and you get on a stage like a podcast or a radio show or a TV show or a web summit or a webinar or a real live in person stage, you can share all about what you love and people start getting to know you and your personality. And then they magnetically get attracted to you. And as you start describing what you do and the problems that you solve, people are like, she can solve my problem too. I don't know how to get on stages. She can solve that problem for me. She knows how to get us on stages. And they sort of magnetically come into your world. You are not selling, you are not slimy salesperson closing the door and locking somebody in a room and being like, you got to buy now, now, now. You are sharing with the world what your expertise is, and they're able to step in and say yes, or I want to hear more. And being able to do that is marketing. You just don't feel like it's marketing or sales. And while we're talking about it, I want to have you step in here. But there's a big difference in the value and the disadvantage of podcasts, which are recorded and out there forever, versus a live event like a virtual summit where you are live in but not in person. You can do it from your bunny slippers, but there's some advantages and disadvantages of being on Zoom or on a virtual event. And then there's advantages and disadvantages of being in an in-person speaking opportunity where you're in a room with other human beings who have gone all the way, like left their house and gone there as well. Would you like to talk about those differences? Oh, I can't hear you. I do see you're not on mute.
Can you hear me?
Yeah.
I hit the button. I've been hitting the button one too many times lately. I get a little jazzed. My thumb's getting all hey. No, but yeah, it's huge that people understand that this is sales. That you're showing up. You can show up with your lip gloss and your hair did and your best top and you've got your sparkle shirt on and it's so great and you're just shining and the attitude's everywhere. And then people get the difference of those live events where you show up and you're just really in the moment, but it's an audience engagement that's so important.
Oh,
And
yeah.
yes, you're selling, but you need to have that engagement with the audience, and you can do that with a live event, even a virtual reality event.
Absolutely. And we can talk about that huge advantages of that. Engaging your audience live, whether it's virtual or in person, is critical. And even on those recordings, it's harder to do, but it's super important because you want them to take action on the thing you say last, right? So after you talk, after you speak for a while, and the people are like, gosh, I really love this person. One of the mistakes I made early, and I've had the privilege of being on over 5,000 stages in my lifetime so far, but one of the advantages of one of the things that I missed out on early was the proper call to action. I would get on and I'd be funny and I'd be interesting, and people would be like, "Yay, she was great. I hope I ever see her again somewhere, maybe." And I never told them like what to do, like what their marching orders were what to do next, right? And it was a failure on my part. And now that's one of the things I teach very early is when you are getting on a stage, what do you want your audience to do at the end of your talk? Think it before you get on the mic. Find out, what do you want your audience to do? Do you want them to go to your website? Do you want them to book a call with you? Do you want them to grab a freebie or a downloadable and give them your email address to get the gift? Or do you want them to maybe meet you in person? Or it's okay if you want them to buy your stuff or download your book or buy your book on Amazon, whatever it is, but you just need some sort of call to action for them. What can they do at the end of your talk? And that's critically important. So when you are working with your audience, whether you are on a podcast or whether you're on a virtual stage or an in-person stage, having the opportunity to be able to connect with your audience and tell them what they can do next in the next natural step of the buying journey with you. And they may not see it as a buying journey. They may just see it as learning more about you. Now, podcasts are great for a lot of things, but they're recorded and you can't interact with the audience live. You're hoping that they're listening to you later. And some of that stuff has been out there. Like my podcasts have been out there for 7, 8, 9, 10 years. And people are still watching podcasts that I was a guest on and opting into my gift from those podcasts, which is amazing. The beauty of a podcast is that it's evergreen, it's out there forever. And the second new thing that's happening is this totally cool concept. I don't know if you've heard of it. Maybe you have. It's called artificial intelligence. It goes by the name AI. And
Yes.
artificial intelligence, of course, I'm just teasing, but artificial intelligence is grabbing the public information about everything and everyone to be able to feed its memory. So it's grabbing all the podcasts that I've been on, that you've been on, that everybody else has been on, and all the other stuff about us. So keywords on our website, the SEO that we used to try to do to like get people to pay attention to us, that's no longer a thing. AI is grabbing holistically all the information about us to tell the world. So if you are on a podcast, that stuff is out there so that you can be found years later through AI because it's learning about us and who we are and what we're up to in the world. That's the great thing about podcasts. Now, a live virtual event like this one, you get to talk about what's happening right now. So at the end of an in-person event, you might say, or at the end of a virtual event, you might say, hey, I've got a workshop coming up next week, and here's the link for it. But on a podcast, you don't want to do that because it's like it's 7 years old, right? So you don't want to, you need to talk about something that's evergreen. But in a live virtual event, you're able to interact with the audience and have them play with you. Like Jeff's playing with us right now on LinkedIn. Totally awesome. And so you get to play with them and interact with them and do shout outs for their names and talk with them. So you're connecting in a much deeper way than you would on a podcast with a podcast audience, which is more passive. Now, the third avenue is in-person events. And at an in-person event, OMG, you get a chance to, like, at the break, come and give people hugs and meet them at the water cooler or grabbing coffee, or at lunch. You can sit down and have lunch with them and do sort of a deep dive. Afterwards, you might reconnect with them in person again if they're in the same city. So in-person events are super powerful in a completely different way because you're not just interacting with them during your talk time. You're interacting with them and all that other stuff, right? In the time where you're like you're off the stage, you're walking around. Maybe you were a guest speaker on somebody else's stage, so you're sitting at a table watching the speaker with them. Maybe you're rubbing elbows with them or sharing notes or whatever, and you're doing a much deeper connection with them on that in person. In addition to that, they have had to do something to get there, right? They had to, maybe they bought a plane ticket, maybe they drove, maybe they got a hotel room to get to that event. So these are action takers, people who aren't just sitting passively in their bunny slippers and or listening passively to a podcast, but they're actually involved in the event. So you have 3 different avenues. Not one is better than the other, but you need to leverage different things at each different opportunity. So recorded, evergreen, summit live, virtual, and in-person events all have their different pluses and minuses.
You know, they all have the difference. And the great thing about that is with artificial intelligence, our new buddies, our chatbots, learning to love them for the good that they can do, right? Not letting the Facebooks of the world take over. But here's how you can take control in what you're talking about. You're imprinting that you're actually marketing strategically, and the intelligence, you're getting ahead of the game. If you were doing lives, if you're on YouTube or you're on Rumble or Twitter, any of those really cool platforms. And the blessing of that is that, the more you put out, not only are the analytics reading that, not only are you pushing that even more, because right now YouTube loves creatives, that you're doing lives, that you're putting clips out there, and that you're doing your own thing, the solopreneur, the entrepreneur, the smaller business. They're loving the creatives. They want to get away from the artificial AI voices and no actual person. So if you do a little bit like a 50-50 split or a 70-20, however you want to game that system, what you're doing is you're putting it out there. And even Google now, for that SEO, that search engine optimization, is what they're doing is they've got their Gemini out there, Claude's got their thing, and all these bots are scraping your information. So when people search for you, they're going to see more of you because you're out there. You don't really have to, there's terms you can use and there's keywords and all that stuff. Is very simple to do. Don't go crazy. Don't deep dive into the analytics unless you're getting ready to launch a product or you're doing some research. Don't worry about it every day, because the fact that you're turning on the camera, the fact that you're going live, the fact that you're talking to people and engaging your audience, it is smaller audiences. I talked to a few mentors and people and some of coaches that I know that are working right now. And the challenge with events is been that, hey, we could get 900 signups a year ago, and then we get 100 and something people in the room. Now they're getting 150 signups, but I'm finding in the research that the good thing about those small groups is not only are you building long-lasting relationships and you have your call to action, you're telling people where to go, they gave you the blessing of their email because they do want you to contact them. That's what
Right.
they're there for. But the other thing is that those small groups of people are buying a bigger price point. They're paying more for a ticket because they truly want to have that quality time with you in that moment of experience. People don't want 12, 18 months of coaching. It's not necessarily something I need it right now. It's give me, just get straight to it. Get straight to the point. Let's heal the wound. Let's pull off the band-aid. Let's fix the problem, solve that pain point, and do this right now so I can come back, do what I need to do in my business or my life, and then come back to you when I need to take that next step. People want to level up. They did that years ago. I remember way in the way back machine was that people wanted to get to the crux of the situation so they can fix and solve the problem instead of pull it out like a therapist. Come back every month for lay an hour on my couch, we open that wound, and then you're never fixing the situation. You're constantly triggered. And you don't want that as a speaker. You don't want that on your stage. You don't want that as your stage host, because you want great vibration. People want to remember you. And they know that not only do you have a great energy and you look fantastic on the stage, but they also want to know that you're going to do something. And so because there's so much information out there, they want to know that you're going to show them and guide them right here, right now. And you're truly the mentor because you actually know what you're doing. And so this solves to the problem of all the song and dances of people, of coaches that want to do the year-long programs or something. But we can solve for this right now. And it's the instantaneous satisfaction of how we're engaging and what we're doing. I do have a question, and I have wanted to ask this for a long time, and it's just been something that's near and dear to my heart. Can we talk about people on stages where people used to tell each other to give the farm away, do it for free? They didn't have it in their budget. So if we go back to marketing, from the thought of marketing, that speakers probably have to pay at some point, and you are paying to advertise and be on someone's stage, and there is an admin fee. There's a lot of work, there's a lot of value there, and they can generate leads if they're in that quality aligned audience. How
Sure.
do you feel about that? Because I think it's important. People think they're just going to get a TED Talk by speaking on free stages and just talking to nobody and going nowhere and no aligned audience. And then they're going to go to TEDx and they, A, don't have the experience, but B, they really don't understand that this is a business and it is marketing.
Yeah, if you're going to pay for marketing, if you're going to pay Facebook ads or even affiliate commissions, there is a cost to doing the sales. You can do the sales yourself by doing all those one-on-one calls, or you can pay to get on somebody else's stage, get in front of a larger new audience of your ideal clients, and be able to share your juicy goodness with them and have them come to you. But there is a cost associated with that. To be able to have that audience assembled for you, so that you get to step on a stage and speak to that audience. And when you are selling something from that audience, it's really it's really a value. The value that you got was being on somebody else's stage and having that audience collected for you. That is a difficult skill. If you've ever tried to put on an event yourself and draw an audience, I know a lot of people are like, I have a dream one day I want to put on, retreats in Costa Rica. And while that is a fantastic dream, and I'm not stepping on anybody's manifestation, I do think that being able to get humans to get on a plane and go somewhere and do something is really the effort, not creating the beautiful retreat area. It's actually the effort of getting the people to move. That's really where the cost is. That's where the difficulty is. You can go and create a beautiful retreat center, or you can go and create an event, a 3-day event. And I mean, we talk about that all the time. Okay, I've got a 3-day event upcoming. How am I going to fill the room with people? That's the challenge. It's not that you're not going to give amazing value once they're there. It's not going to be, it's not that you're not going to be able to teach what you want to teach and make your offer. That's all great. But the physical part of getting people into the room, whether it's physical or virtual, that is really the big challenge. So, yes, I have paid up to $10,000 to be in front of a room of my ideal clients. The privilege of being able to get in front of 1,000 people is huge. And maybe being able to get on a summit, or maybe being able to get on a podcast, is an amazing opportunity. Luckily, right now, podcasts really traditionally do not charge their guests to be able to be on their podcast. They're monetizing in different ways, very clever ways. They're monetizing by having ads run on their show, or doing sponsorships, or the most clever people, in my opinion, are doing a podcast to promote their own thing, right? I am an expert in this area. I'm bringing in all these guests, but also I'm giving you this information about how you can work with me personally, right? The Dave Ramseys of the world and things like that, right? They're having a podcast to talk about how great, how knowledgeable they are, and then bring in people to be like, oh, I need to buy their stuff. That's a great way to monetize your own podcast. But getting on Dave Ramsey's show, or getting on like a show like that, of course you would need to pay, because you're getting in front of a new audience of people who are actively interested in the subject that you speak about. And yes, people should have to pay for that. And not just should, but people do pay for that quite frequently. So if you are wanting to be able to, if you're there's another factor in there that they're like, well, wait a minute, Kimberly, I thought I was going to get paid to teach because I have all this wonderful knowledge that I thought I could get on stage and people would pay me to deliver information to their audience. Well, while that could be true, that you're delivering knowledge to an audience, two things. Number one, teachers get paid to deliver information to audiences, and teachers do not get paid very well. The average teacher's salary is not as much as the average coach's salary sometimes, right? Or the average person that's a business owner's, because they're not making a lot just to deliver the knowledge. There are other people who are out there who are keynotes, of course. Brendan Burchard is a keynote speaker. He might charge $100,000 to be on somebody's stage or do a corporate address. But Brendan Burchard has a ton behind him, right? He's got $1 billion industry behind him, and a huge team, and 17 books, and on and on. So when you're working in that pool of, gee, I'd really like to get paid to deliver my knowledge, what is it that you have that's different from that? And I will just say, there's a lot of fish in that tiny little pond to be able to do keynotes and be able to get paid to speak. Or you can get paid to speak, but it's not as lucrative for many people as speak to sell, where you're getting on a stage and talking about how you can help people and how they can work with you. At that point, yes, then it's super valuable. Well, you asked a question like, give the farm away. Should you give the farm away? You got to be able to give some knowledge. If you do not share that you know something and leave the audience with something of value because you're holding everything back, then you're not going to attract a lot of clients' trust. And you said that earlier. You said they start to trust you. And I loved that. And it's true. because there are a lot of people out there, Nicole, who know you. There are a lot of people who like you, but the trust factor is the key. Do they trust you to be able to give them the result that they need? So if you're on a stage and you're teaching and you're saying, hey, I help people do this, that, and the other thing. And if you join my program, I'll give you this, that, and the other thing. And just all you have to do is buy my stuff. And somebody asks a question and they say, well, what's the best way to do this? And your answer is, well, you have to be part of my program in order to get that answer from me. The trust factor crumbles immediately, right? They don't know that you really have that information to give them. So giving the farm away, not the whole farm, but you do need to be sure that the audience knows, man, she gave me a lot of value today. And if she gives me that kind of value just by listening to her on a podcast, imagine what I would get if I was in her world, right? So that's the kind of give the farm away that I would recommend. Yes, pay to get on a stage in front of your ideal audience. No, don't necessarily pay to get on a podcast. Yes, when you get on any stage, you're going to give value to the audience. And if they never do business with you, they're still going to walk away having been given to and being better off. But being able to do speak to sell, super powerful opportunity.
Yeah, absolutely. And it works better if you're looking at business and you say, hey, I'm going to use this in my marketing budget. I don't have to run a Facebook ad and go out there and worry about finding the analytics and keep putting it out there. Because the small businesses, a few years ago, when I kind of dabbled in entrepreneurship, it was like, hey, get this commercial, and it would get sold in the way of like, the big business of a Nike or a Hewlett Packard or something. It's like, wait a second, where does that make sense that I'm paying something that they would pay when I'm a smaller business? And it's not the quality of what I'm putting out there, but the magic of what's going on right now is that even just a podcast, and if it's strategically placed in a group, you're giving you're sharing on a summit or an event, you're sharing your audience. So if you have 3,000, 5,000, 25,000 people in your audience and you're giving someone the stage, that speaker is shared within that audience. And if you affiliate a product or a service and everybody's making a little money, they're generating income there, and that can be exchanged. It's a collaboration. So people can find that product and that stage host can continue to advertise you. And that again is a commercial or an advertisement that you're sharing. If people don't trust you and they're not familiar with you and they don't know that you're going to come back tomorrow, that maybe you came into somebody's group and you did a master class and then you're gone and we can't find you, and the people in your group don't see that person again, not only you're going to say, hey, I don't trust that person that did that master class, I can't find them, what happened to them, but they're also thinking that, hey, you as the event host or the group admin, the person that's controlling that, aren't really bringing quality people that are going to stay there long term. So it's not always going to be judged on that one person, but who are you bringing to this stage? What quality are you bringing? And with all these events all the time, every day, they have to pick and choose where they're going to go. And that's why so many people show up for you on your stages to support not only, hey, this is a cool challenge for the voices of women, but it's also a place that we can support one another and then we can have a larger connection. And then they come back to the group. So just a few things, if you're showing up and shouting out, that's the marketing that you're doing. And don't, people want to kind of sit up and listen like, oh, who's on Kimberly's stage today? What drop is she sharing on something like your Speakers Playhouse, where it's networking for stage host and for speakers to be in there, and you're sharing something that you've brought, that you've vetted that person coming to the stage, that they're going to do a webinar or a master class or a workshop, and you get to taste that as an audience member and say, hey, I just want a little drop in this whole sea of stuff. And again, it's about connection and building relationship because you want to share with somebody those takeaways. What can you do today with me? What can you do? What's the potential and how does this work? And if somebody sees that and the audience sees not only that support because it's coming from somebody who's trusted that like you, but that person's going to be there that's doing the master class there, that's sharing the workshop or that benefit, and they know that they can come back. I mean, you have someone like all the time that's on there, and he's great. He does TEDx. I think it's what, Frank King,
Yep.
right? And he comes on there, but I know that it's not, oh, it's Frank once in a while. It's Frank all the time because Frank's done like so many TEDx, but to say that there's the quality of the relationship that you have built, that you know that he's going to support not only you and you're going to support him, but he's going to support your audience. He's going to tell them like it is. And that's the importance of having that trust factor of the relationship you've built. And you even turn it into this networking event because hey, you're a speaker, you get on stages, you meet people, and that's how we met. And I've been on your stage, and now here you are on mine, and to share that in that group of people, to say, hey, this is the trust that we built, and that's the magic of the connections of where you're on the stage and what you're bringing, that you're not just gonna show up for 5 minutes and we're never gonna have a conversation again. And then the audience is like, I don't really know if I trust the stage host
Mm,
anymore, right?
mm. Yeah. Yeah, you got to be able to make sure that you're the people that you're putting on your stage. And that does get a little, honestly, a little dicey, because when you have people paying to be able to get on your stage, it's one of the challenges for me is it's not just like here's the price tag, anybody can buy it, but I need to be able to make sure that the people that have the opportunity to be on my stage are going to be giving value to that audience. And that can be a real challenge. So you want to be sure that if you're endorsing a sponsor, for example, early on in my career, we had a 3-day event and we had a sponsor come on that was really like we were a very sort of feminine energy, soft vibe, and we had a speaker come on that was just very masculine, opposite energy. That was like sort of a killer vibe, and we're gonna crush it, and it's gonna be. And they came in super hot with our audience, and it just wasn't a match. And at the break, people were like, who was that? Why did you put them in front of us? Because we trust you, so you must really like them. What's that all about? And I remember thinking, oh man, I will never make that mistake again. Right? It's just, it was people were asking me, like, I understand, and it wasn't really true, but they said, I understand that you really like these people and that you really endorse them and you want us to buy their stuff, but why? Because they just, like, we didn't understand why they were so great. They just seemed kind of shystery to us. And so I was like, oh man, I put them on there because they paid for a sponsorship, not because I personally endorsed them. And it was a huge mistake that a lot of new stage owners make. So something to be aware of, that not every stage host knows that that actually is a high recommendation if you are putting somebody on your stage. Same thing with if you have got a YouTube channel and you're doing sponsorships or ads, and something comes on for Depends or something. Not that there's anything wrong with that, but it's like, oh, maybe that's not in alignment with who I am and what I'm up to in the world. So you kind of have to be careful about that. And it's something that large brands definitely know, right? So if you're the Super Bowl, you're not going to have certain kinds of commercials on, even if they're willing to pay to be on the Super Bowl, right? You got to make sure that they're in alignment with your audience. So it's got to be, in my mind, it's got to be a win-win-win. It's got to be a win for the stage host, a win for the sponsor, and a win for the audience. And if it's not, then something went awry, and you probably are better off with somebody else on your stage. And if you're a speaker, you're probably better on somebody else's stage that's going to receive you more. And you mentioned something like that they would say things like, "Oh, I wonder when I'm going to see Kimberly again," or "I wonder like I wonder if she's just one and done," or something like that. And that's why I think speakers need to be consistent. They need to get out there. There's two things that'll make you successful pretty much in any business. Number one is starting. And a lot of people don't get off that starting gate. They're like, oh, one day I'll have all my armor on, I'll have the perfect talk, and then I'll get on a stage. Well, if you don't get on the stage, you haven't started yet, right? So starting is number one. And number two is consistency, being out there regularly on a lot of different platforms in a lot of different areas so people can find you. And so if you start and you're consistent, think of the Tupperware ladies or the Amway salespeople, the ones who made a lot of money started and they were consistent, right? Those are the people who got super successful. All of the people, Brendan Burchard started and got consistent. And all of the people that we know of that are out there, they started something and they consistently went after it. So That's the two keys. That's all you got to do in order to be super successful in business. And if you're a beginner, awesome. Let's get you on a stage. The best way to get good at publicly speaking is by publicly speaking. You got to get out there. You got to do it. You have to be, you have to expose yourself and be able to get out there. And then the second thing is, once you're out there and on stages, is give people a transformation, give them an aha moment, give them something that where they can say, oh man, I didn't have that before I heard Kimberly speak. So if you can have something that you give them, like Brendan Burchard is famous for, and I do this a lot as well, in his stead, because I love what he does, is I'll give a framework, right? 3 easy steps to XYZ, or the 3 keys to whatever, or the 5 pillars up. And if you give a format, a something people can follow, now they're nodding along and they're going, oh man, she's got a system that I can follow. I want to know more about that. And that really becomes key.
It truly does, because people know that they're going to get something. They're going to get a takeaway.
Yeah.
And your audience is going to go, okay, I'm actually going to get something out of this. I'm not going to just show up and just be there. What's going on? Why should I put my time? Why should I invest my time
Yes.
in this workshop? Or why should I put the time away? And it's okay to come in there and really just get a taste of what somebody's doing. Maybe you don't quite know them. Maybe you're going to collaborate with them. So check out their groups and see what they've got going on. Stop by their workshop and say, hey, I'd like to look, find it out a little bit more. It's going from window shopping to going into the store to exploring, and then coming back in the next couple of weeks and then dropping a few $1,000s and going, okay, I really like this purse. It's going to go with everything that I have, right? You really want to that's the way to feel it, touch it, get it in your hands, see if this is going to work for you. And absolutely, when you're starting out, you're not always sure who your speakers are. I like to talk to them. I do speaker calls, or I get on the phone with people one to one and say, hey, here's where we're a good fit for this summit coming up, or here's where we're not, right? If I have an author summit like Plot Twist coming up, for authors and for people who offer publishing support, hey, if you're not an author or you don't offer publishing support, we might not be a good fit. It's not putting that square peg in a round hole. If you're selling insurance, what are you going to do coming on the stage? People aren't going to support it. But also saying, hey, too, to the group, like, hey, I'm going to try this out. This is somebody that we're collaborating that's new. We're kind of going to beta test this, and we want to see if this is a fit for everybody. If you have a supportive group that's going to come and be consistent, and you can share that. But absolutely, if the energy doesn't match, the audience is going to be like, what is going on with you? I'm not coming back for this. This is not a good vibe. We're not having fun. I don't want to come back to this experience. And they let you know, and that's a good thing too, is let people know, hey, I would have loved to see A, B, or C. You said you did 3 steps. It kind of went into the 4th step. And that's where you can sell them on a call to action to say, if you want steps 4, 5, and 6, come into this coaching program, or come onto my stage, or do the thing with me, so we can establish the rest of the process for you. And you're giving people, again, a taste of it. But it's looking at it a little bit differently, where people are like, hey, I'm a coach. I don't have a license. I didn't invest in my business. I'm just showing up, and 5 minutes in a networking room, they've changed their business 4 times. You're really not sure what their avatar is.
Yeah.
And then they're going to make $100,000 on a stage. And it's like, whoa, pump the brakes here. And it's not okay to do that, but it's also good for the host of the networking or somebody in that room to say, let me share a few tips, because the other people in the room have worked so hard to get to the point that they're at. And if that person's out there saying, hey, this is the way I want to be, I'm not going to pay to be on your stage, I'm not going to pay to market, not only don't invite them back, kind of thing, but also maybe pull them aside and say, hey, this is kind of how this works. And if you really want to show up and be supportive, here's something you might want to pivot. And that is nurturing your group, and that is sharing that good quality people are coming through, because it's important not just to ignore that person, but let them know a few things like, hey, here's where you can get, here, go to this networking group, or show up over here, or maybe take this lesson, and those important things to share with people what's really going on here, because the people that have worked so hard and come so far and invested in themselves and done the thing and got the experience, now everybody else looks at that and it's like, hey, they don't honor that experience. And that's what I love about 2026 with what's going on with AI and all the other tech tools. Why? Because it's allowing us to come back and be creative. It's allowing people like us who come on the stage and do a talk and are more animated and want to really share and teach and grow. That text running in the back, let that workflow do its thing. Let that automation do its thing. Let YouTube do its thing. You put the video out there and into the Webernet of things, and you're letting it fly and multiply, and you can concentrate on the important stuff of showing up and just letting go. Make sure that you have your foundation, you've got your giveaway, you've got your call to action, and that you're structured to show up. And then you can so shine. And that's the other thing. I see a lot of people coming in here and they're trying to tech stack, and they've got all these. I've got 12 AIs here, and I got this AI, and I've got 3 virtual assistants. It's like nobody's talking to anybody. You're trying to run a large business. You really need to keep it simple. And I think that's something that you do so well. But it's hard, but there's a simplicity about what you do and how you share that with people. Is that something that you learned from that experience on the stage? I think you show up with less stress, right? When you have that professionally built and that foundation.
Yeah, I think a lot of people are mostly stressed when they first start out because they don't know what they're going to say. And if you think to yourself before you get on any stage, here, I'll give you a 3-part framework. Here's the 3 things you need to know before you get on any stage. Number 1, what do I want my audience to learn by the end of this talk? By the end of the time that Nicole and I are together, what do I want them to learn by the end of this talk? Number 2, what do I want my audience to do at the end of this talk? After they've gotten to know me, after I've gotten to share a little bit, what do I want them to do? What's their next natural step that they can take to continue finding out more about me if they would like to engage? And that could be buy my stuff, but it could be grab my downloadable or check out my website or something like that. And then finally, after this talk, how do I want my audience to feel? What do I want them to feel? Do I want them to feel uplifted? Do I want them to feel hopeful? Or do I want them to feel angry and pissed off about something and they want to call their senator to get it fixed? If I'm talking about like human trafficking or something, like maybe I do. Maybe I want to get them motivated and upset about something. Or maybe I just want them to learn about recycling and use the blue bin going forward, right? Like, and feel like that's going to be easy and effortless for them to be able to do. Whatever it is, you need to know that before you get on the stage. And that will give you direction so that your audience will intuitively know as you're going through your talk, what did I want my audience to learn? Okay, I'm going to get those points out because I want them to have transformation. I want them to have some sort of learning and value out of my talk. And we'll often say that in the middle of a summit or something. Are you guys getting value? Put value in the chat box, and up lights the chat box, like value, 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 because people have been pouring into them. And that's really why they show up. Our time is the most valuable thing that we have. It's the thing we can never pay for more of. We only have so many go rounds on this planet. And if we're giving our time to a summit or listening to a podcast or whatever, that's the same time that we're not playing with our kids or going on vacation in Bali or whatever, right? We're not doing those other things. So we're giving our time to this thing to listen to this person speak. And when we do that, we have to honor that and make sure that they have some sort of value out of that, some sort of transformation. And then the last thing you mentioned, I want to touch on is there are too many speakers out there who are trying to be all things to all people. There are too many business owners who are trying to be all things to all people. And it's an easy but very slippery slope. It's easy to fall into, where you'll have a client and they'll say, oh, I want to get on a stage. Okay, great. Okay, now I need some coaching for that. Can you coach me on this? Okay, I'll give you a little coaching. Okay, can you listen to my 60-minute talk and give me point by point feedback? And there's got to be a point where you're like, I don't want to, that's not my area of expertise. I mean, we could, we could do that, but do we want to do that? And that's the point where I'm like, this is my cutoff. And I've made a decision not to be all things to all people. There are so many people who could listen to a 60-minute talk and give point by point directions on it. And I have way more other things that I want to do other than that, right? I don't want to do that for people, but there are coaches who are exquisite at that I could never be as good as, that they need to go to those people to get that feedback. And to me, if they've got to talk, or if they want to get on their very first stage, or they are just starting out, or they're anywhere in between, then I can happily get them on a stage and connect them with a podcast or a summit or some way where they can start speaking in a very safe, warm environment. The Voices of Women that you mentioned, we had people on there who had 25 years of experience plus. We had people on there that were giving their very first talk. We had youth on there who were 10 years old who were speaking for the very first time. Imagine, Nicole, if you had been told when you were a young woman, we want to hear your message. We would like to hear you speak more. When I was a young woman, nobody ever said, Kimberly, we'd like you to talk more. Can you please talk more? Because nobody ever said that in my life ever, right? They said kind of the opposite. And when we are telling young women and young men, we want to hear from you. We want to hear your message. We would like to put you on a podcast and hear what you have to say. That becomes a whole new world of, oh, I have something that's important and unique, that's not more important than others, but different from others. And I can share a really powerful message that can inspire other humans. And that is why I go by, rather than motivational speaker, I go by inspirational speaker. I am an inspirational speaker, inspiring people to take action and do things, not motivating them to encourage them and pulling them forward, but inspiring them. If you want to do it, great, let's do that. And I can help you make that happen. But if you need daily motivation and somebody to come in and pat you on the back and tell you, you're doing great, kiddo, that's not me.
Right, right. But so many great solutions. And I love that what you're saying. Identify who you are and what you do because you're going to help your audience. You're really going to provide solutions. And when you're truly passionate about changing business, how businesses run, or if you're truly passionate about your purpose and your worth and what you want to change in the community and the world, you have to give that call to action. So the inspiration should activate you and trigger you in a positive way to do something with the solutions that you have shared with the audience and the action steps you want them to take. So if you're wondering why nobody's making that change, you wonder why nobody's listening because they can't hear you. There's something
Mm-hmm.
that's missing in there. There's no clarity. But today, folks, you have been given so many solutions by the amazing Kimberly Crow. So honored to have you on the stage and so much fun in this conversation and the truth bombs that we've dropped here and the tips. So these are virtual solutions. And just think about it. By doing your own podcast or hosting your own event, a summit, a workshop, a
Yeah.
master class, and you can learn more in the Voice Lab on the school platform. Information's in the link. And you can do this. You can be that change and you can host your own event and you can profit and be financially free so you can support what you want, all those communities and the purpose, or just take your family on a trip. So just think about that. The call to action for me today, folks, is to like, subscribe, leave some comments, share this with some friends, families, and those fellow people next door. But Kimberly, any last things? I've dropped everything with Speakers Playhouse, but you had something else that you had shared. It's idealclientreveal.com.
Ooh, yeah. Some people worry about serving everybody. And if you serve everybody, you may have heard the phrase, you serve nobody. If you say, I help people with dreams and everybody can benefit from that, you're not helping specific people. So we don't dive in as a specialist. However, if you say, I help women between 20 and 45 be able to handle, manage the dreams that they're having at night that wake them up at 3 a.m., then now you're narrowing it down to a very specific niche. And people are different in different ways. So if you're looking to find out who your ideal clients are, you can take Ideal Client Reveal at idealclientreveal.com. We'll put the link in the chat as well. And it's a fun quiz that you can go through to find out and do a deep dive. After you do the deep dive, it'll give you direct messages and marketing speak and language to use that will resonate with your ideal audience, so that you can more effectively connect with them and have an increased relationship with the right kinds of people that you enjoy working with.
Absolutely. And it's an interactive quiz. It's pretty
Yeah,
nifty. I
super
clicked the
fun.
button and started to go through it. Yeah, woo, squirrel. But it's fun. You guys can go in there, check it. It's user friendly, so
Yep.
it's awesome and amazing. Just like everything else, you guys. We will see you next week for another episode of the Pain Point Podcast. Join us live, be a guest. DM me. You want to learn more about stages, getting out there, and how to truly market yourself, your brand, and be the spokesperson for those cool products and services that you provide. Don't forget to hit the like, smash the subscribe. You guys, love you, lots of love. Have a great day. Bye bye. Bye bye.